Hello, everybody. Welcome back to today's episode, all about staying healthy while traveling. If you're new to my channel, new to the podcast, my name is Haley. I do have Instagram, I have the YouTube and Spotify, Powerful Hippie. It's called the Powerful Pod. I'm uploading episodes at least every other week, unless of course I am on vacation, which has been the whole shtick as to kind of this episode today. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate your time here. As always, if you could, like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a review on Spotify, I'd really appreciate it. This is a new thing for me. I only have 8 episodes in, so I'm trying to make this grow, but I really need your support to do so. So again, thank you so much. As a reminder, and this is also kind of new, I am now a Redcon One affiliate. So what that means is if you use my discount code, which is just Powerful Hippie, you can save 20% off on all Redcon supplements, apparel, and everything on their shop. A little bit about Redcon One. It was ranked #1 as Vitamin Shopp's brand of the year in 2019, and it's available in over 80 countries with more than 30 products right now. And I've only been using this new flavor recently, but right now my favorite flavor is the vanilla protein. It's vanilla shake, which is the MRE light protein. It's a whole food based protein, so it's no dairy, which is great for me. They do have whey proteins, but I don't like to do whey. It just doesn't agree with me. I'm a little dairy sensitive. So I love using that in smoothies, oatmeal bowls, but they also have really cool flavors like red velvet, and there's over 10 flavors for the proteins alone. So again, 20 out of 10 recommend. I have been using Redcon for over 4 years. So I've been using their pre-workout, creatine, chocolate protein. Again, I'm new to vanilla. I've had their blueberry cobbler. It's really good. And then they also have, again, crazy awesome flavors. I love it. I started using their fat burner, and they also have a sleep aid that's amazing. So please just go look at it. I will also put the link in the show notes. And so, yeah, again, thank you. Remember, if you use that, even when they have buy one, get ones and free on their website, you get 20% off. So, Powerful Hippie at checkout is my code. So that is that. And before we get into the whole road trip vacation story, I have another funny story. Not so funny for me, but now I can laugh at it. I think in a few days I'll be able to laugh at the situation even more. But because I just went through this literally within the last 30 minutes. So my Q-tip story time. And I hope this brings you some joy and laughter and also reminds you to take Q-tips seriously. So what do I mean? So those little cotton swabs, right? The last couple of days, my ear was really sore, and I haven't been swimming, haven't been in water, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" I thought maybe I was getting an ear infection, so I went to the pharmacy, talked to the pharmacist. They recommended these drops for like swimmer's ear, like preventative for an ear infection. So I started using those, but it made the pain worse, and I couldn't hear like on my right side of my ear. So I didn't go to the gym because I was afraid that I was just going to make it worse, especially if I wear headphones. So 2 days go by, it still hurts. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I should just go to the doctor. And then I told my husband, I'm like, can you please grab your flashlight and some tweezers and just see if you can feel anything? Because I felt like there was something in there. I was in pain last night. Like, I literally cried because I was like, what the heck is going on with me? I'm never one to have an ear infection. I haven't had an ear infection in over 20 years. Y'all, it was a Q-tip, like piece of a Q-tip head, like the cotton piece stuck in my ear, pushing up against like the inside of my ear canal. Really hurt, like so badly. I thought I was gonna have to go to the ER. So I'm just telling you this because I want to get it off my chest, but also remind you to take your ear health and safety seriously because I bought the Dollar Tree generic Q-tip brand Q-tips, cotton swabs, whatever you want to call them, and now I'm never gonna buy off-brand Q-tips or like cotton swabs because it really hurt. Just wanted to share that. I had to get that off my chest. Want to spread Q-tip awareness. Yeah, I know it's kind of funny. It's like, wow, this stuff only happens to Haley. Yes, it does. But let me tell you, it was painful, not pleasant. All right, so now that I have that off my chest, let's talk about being on a road trip vacation, how can you stay healthy, right? It's really, really important in the summer, especially when you're traveling, because if you're traveling like every other weekend, you might throw off your digestion, your immune health. Like there's so many different things that you can mess up, unfortunately. And it can make you feel like not enjoying your vacation. You don't want to go on a vacation again. It can really just mess with everything, mental health, physical health, everything. So this was inspired because recently, and this is kind of why the podcast was delayed an extra week. Sorry. But recently we took a 4-day road trip. We went to North Carolina to visit friends. I haven't really been there. Went to like Raleigh and Durham area. It was so lovely, beautiful, right? And we had a great time, but I was like, I don't want to sacrifice my health, my fitness, everything that I've been working on, because I knew it's going to take like a day to get there. If we drive really slowly, which we do, because we have a dog, we got to stop and stuff, right? I knew I don't want to have to sacrifice my health and fitness goals. So I thought about this before the trip. Obviously, I'm that kind of person. I'm like, I'm going to write this down. How can I logically make everything work, at least to the best of my ability? Because you can only control what you can control, right? You can't control bad weather. You can't control other people's attitudes or whatever, but you can kind of try to control your perception, your attitude when you're on a vacation, right? So there are so many ways that you can look at this. Sometimes, however, in my opinion, being overly restrictive on a vacation can lead to also having a bad vacation. So it is about balance, but you need to have this in your head going into your vacation. Am I going to limit alcohol and caffeine? Am I just going to be really hydrated? Am I going to try to stay as restrictive and not eat junk food or eat out as much as possible? Or am I going to do a kind of middle ground? I'll have a glass of wine or a nice coffee, and do that kind of stuff. When you're on vacation, you don't really have to do things that much differently out of your normal routine. But if you are on a diet and then you're like, okay, not going to go on a diet on the vacation, just remind yourself, if you're in a car, on an airplane, you're more sedentary, right? So that's something to think about, because if you're already going to be overly doing it with the calories and you're drinking your calories, whether that's like iced coffees or milkshakes or, alcohol or anything like that, you're already eating in excess, caloric surplus, and you're not going to be as active. So that can also lead to a really bad vacation, and that can be really shitty, right? So this isn't a blueprint. This is like my blueprint to help me stay on track, because I don't want you to be overly restrictive, but if you overdo it, it's the same thing. So overdoing it, overly restrictive and over consumption, both are not great for a vacation. So, and all these, by the way, can save you money as well. Really, really beneficial. I've thought about everything. That's why this podcast took a little bit longer too, because I wanted to make sure I did not leave a single thing out. I've done the work. I have been the guinea pig, tried and true, because I love going on vacation, but I also want to make sure I have a good time. I will admit right now I am in a caloric deficit. I am starting my bodybuilding journey, which is very exciting. I have lost some weight. I have lost some body fat percentage. I feel great. And I feel like genuinely the most healthy I've been in years. As a strength coach, as an athlete and personal trainer, I have been everywhere. I've been not so caring about my calories, and now I've been very caring about my calories. But I can tell you, I feel the best. So I think that that's the best marker when it comes to your health. Do you feel good? Do you look good? Are you performing well in the gym? Are you sleeping well? Yes. How's your digestion? Are you regular in the bathroom, if you know what I mean? Again, these are really important markers for you to know how your health is. Yes, you can get blood work done, all that, but to the day to day, if you are not feeling well, that's when you need to check everything and kind of go over everything with a fine tooth. So again, to save money, time, and energy, my biggest tip right now before we get into the nitty gritty is pack ahead. All right. Bring your favorite tried and true snacks and beverages, because that's something that you like. You don't have to worry about it. If you are short for time, especially if you're in an airplane or if you're, driving in a short distance or even a long distance, you don't want to make a lot of stops, whatever. This is really important. So some of my favorite drinks to bring on vacation, obviously lots of water. Bring water. We have a giant thermos we fill up, just because then we can dump that into our water bottle, so we don't have to keep buying big waters or big water bottles, because a big water bottle is like $5 to $7 depending on where you stop, but like a big one, like a big one. So lots of water. You can always add flavoring to your water, or lemon or lime. That can be fun, right? And then that helps you stay hydrated. Yes, the caveat is you're probably going to have to go to a rest stop or bathroom breaks every now and then, but that's better than not drinking enough, in my opinion. I like Zevias, which are sugar-free, soda alternatives. They're sweetened with stevia, so if you're not a fan of the flavor, some people find it bitter. I don't find these bitter though, so maybe that's me. There's a ton of different flavors, so if you like ginger ale, cola, which has a little caffeine, not a lot though, like maybe 35 or 40 milligrams of caffeine, probably like a doctor something, like Dr. Uh, or I don't say doctor, but like Coca-Cola, or like, I don't know, I guess I don't know how much caffeine is in uh, I don't know. I haven't had real soda in forever. I really haven't. So that's hard for me to tell. But Zevias are great. Sparkling waters too, which are very similar to like regular water, but they have like carbonation, tons of different flavors. I like to buy mine from Aldi because they're the cheapest. Walmart has a lot of them as well. Vitamin water, zero sugar. I do not like the sugary drinks as well. Gatorade, zero sugar. Those are great because electrolytes too. So help stay hydrated. Make sure you're getting the nutrients that you need. If you're on vacation, you're already probably off a little bit. Unsweetened teas like green tea. Again, zero sugar electrolytes. You can always get the electrolyte powders. So obviously Redcon has electrolytes or branched chain amino acids so that you can recover better too. You can just bring those. I like the Bai energy drinks too because they're really low calorie. I think they're like 10 calories for the whole bottle. There's a little caffeine stemming from, it's either green tea or green coffee bean extract, but a little caffeine. And so those are my favorite drinks if I'm on vacation. If you don't mind caffeine, then yeah, coffee. Get an iced coffee, black coffee, cold brew, a little bit of cream, a little bit of maybe stevia or a zero sugar, sugar-free option. Those are my favorite though. And again, I'm a big proponent of coffee. I like to bring my own coffee. That's how coffee snob I've become. I've become a black coffee drinker, y'all. I've never in my almost 30 years of living have been a black coffee person until I started buying completely organic coffee beans and grinding them myself. And now I'm a fan of black coffee. It doesn't feel so bitey, bitter, right? It's very mellow. The best black coffee I ever had though was in Jamaica because they have the Blue Mountain coffee beans and they are just fantastic. So those are my drink recommendations. Now, my snack recommendations are all going to be a little bit higher in protein or lower in calories in general, depending on which way you're looking at it, but they're satiating. They're going to give you some energy, some nutrients, and be really good, especially if you're on a long car trip so that you're not overeating. That's the key word. If you're on a long car trip and you're eating cheeseburgers and chips and all these things all day long, you're not going to feel the best. It's just bottom line. You're going to be in a caloric surplus, and these things are very calorically dense. I mean, 20 chips is like the serving size, and you can eat 20 chips without thinking about it. Like that's where it's really important to look at serving size if you're going to go that route, like if it fits in your macros, right? So my favorite snacks right now, grass-fed beef sticks. You can get them at Aldi, Target. There's so many different brands, but I love them. Whole Foods has a ton of flavors too. They're a little bit more expensive at Whole Foods, but you get what you pay for, like the Q-tips. Never gonna forget about the Q-tips, am I? Oiko zero added sugar. I love their Greek yogurt. They also have drinks, which the drinks are awesome. I think they're like 23 grams of protein for the drink and Greek yogurt. So it's delicious. It tastes great, and it's really low sugar, low calorie. So can't stress that. The yogurt drinks are awesome, especially when you're on the go. You can just put that in the lunchbox or have it as is. But yeah, get it at a grocery store and stock up before your trip if you can, because they're going to be more expensive at the gas station or wherever you are. Okay, protein bars. We love the protein bars. They're just satiating. It's like you're cheating, but you're not, because depending on the ones that you buy, I like the barbell ones. They're 20 grams of protein. I like them as if I'm going to do a protein bar, which I don't do protein bars a lot, but if I'm going to do a protein bar, I want it to taste good. Like I can have some whey protein, I can have some, stuff like that, and I don't do it all the time. This is like, again, if I'm in a pinch, but I want something that tastes really good. And to me, those taste like a Snickers bar. So that's really important to know that you can enjoy it. You're satiated. You don't feel like you have to have more of this, more of that. You're not overdoing it. And then you get 20 grams of protein. So it's sometimes hard to hit your protein goals, especially on vacations, because unless you know how much protein is in something, you're just guessing, right? And that's fine too, because again, vacation, moderation, do what you feel. But if you're trying to maintain your health goals, it can be a little bit more difficult. Now, I said this earlier, but protein powders, they're really easy. They're so easy. All you need to mix with is whatever you're blending it with, whether that's a form of milk like almond milk or regular milk or water even. You can just bring a mixing bottle and shake it up. If you have a blender or something like, around you, that's easy too. So protein powders, again, easy. Put that in smoothies, yogurt bowls, and you're good to go. Almonds or mixed nuts like pistachios. So I love that. They have some micronutrients and fiber, really great. But just make sure that you're looking at the serving sizes, and if you're tracking your macros, you know when to stop, because they do have some calories. They're high in fats, but they're great. They're so delicious, and I like different flavors. So I lately have been a fan of the pistachio little packs. Jalapeno lime, that's my favorite, but they also have a salt and vinegar one. Love those. You can find those at Dollar Tree. So great. And I want to say it's like 130 calories for the whole bag. So there you know, it's all right there. You don't have to worry about serving size. You just eat the whole thing and track it. I like rice cakes because there's different flavors. You can buy low sugar ones or plain, and then you can add nut butters on top or pair that with fruit. And for me, I like rice cakes because I feel like the crunch is satisfying. And again, it's going to come back to what you like. I love rice cakes because I feel like I don't, and everybody's different, but I feel like I'm actually eating something and it's satisfying, like a pretzel or a chip, right? So if you like popcorn, same thing to me. Fruit, apples, strawberries, grapes, bananas, oranges. My favorite right now, because it's summer, kiwis. Oh, the golden kiwis. They're literally worth their weight in gold. Aldi has them back in stock. Publix has them back in stock. Thank God, because the golden kiwis are my favorite. Mangoes, they are messy, but they're my favorite. Pineapple. When it comes to fruit, I'm a fruit person, man. Veggies, even pairing with low calorie dips like the Bolthouse Farm Greek yogurt dressing or hummus. So you can, have that on a go. It's high in fiber. You'll feel a little bit more satiated. Again, you have the crunch, so you kind of feel like you're doing something. And I think it's very satiating, satisfying again. And then the Ratio protein cereal, you can add that on top. It's a little bit more expensive, but I like to just add it like basically granola on top of yogurt or oatmeal or anything like that, smoothie bowls, right? And it's less sugar and it's a little bit higher in protein. And then the last one, which is kind of silly, but pickles. You can buy pickles in a bag. You can buy those like little guilt-free pickle chip things. Even if you get hard-boiled eggs and you pair that with pickles, I've done that in the past on road trips, and man, it was a great snack, because if I had two hard boiled eggs, I don't know how many calories that is, but let's just say each one's like 9 grams of protein or something. I have to look on the thing. But you get a decent amount of protein, at least 6 per egg, so at least 12 grams of protein, probably closer to like 15 or 20. And then you have pickles on the side, so you got like kind of a, I don't know, kind of like salty, vinegary kind of thing. I'm kind of weird though. I don't have any food aversion, so if you can't eat food together, I get it. But I don't have any food aversion, so I like to eat things together. I'm team, everybody can get along. So pickles, why not? And then you're also getting some sodium, some salt, electrolytes, right? Now, I'm not against fast food. I'm not, all right? But if you have to eat it, please plan ahead, all right? So here's my advice. I know it can be a pain in the ass. I know it can. But you know what's worse is being stranded with a restaurant nearby that doesn't offer you anything that you can eat or enjoy or plan into your nutrition plan, because it's a ton of calories for a small portion and very low protein or very low nutrition. All right. So that's the worst in my opinion, when you're at a rest stop and there's only like a cheesy bowl there. I don't know. There's so many kind of random fast food restaurants that you only see between Florida and North Carolina, and you're like, what in the world? like Hardee's. Like I have never been to a Hardee's and I never want to go. And I'm sure there's something there that you can get that's not awful, but it's not going to be probably my favorite place to go. No shame on Hardee's. That's just, I saw so many of those. It was so funny. But I will say, there are more fast food chains and restaurants that have salad bowls, grilled chicken, or more Mediterranean options that are very filling. And a lot of these are less than 400 calories for one meal. So here's some of my favorites. And again, it's in no specific order, but these are the ones that I like that I've gone to multiple times, especially when I'm on vacation. Cava, which is like a Mediterranean, kind of like Moe's or Chipotle. When you walk in, you order it. But Cava, you can get like Mediterranean salads, bowls, protein options, chickpeas, like lots of different cool things. And I like it a lot. It's not that expensive either. You can get a whole thing for less than $15 and you can split it with your significant other or your kid or whatever. So I think it's very good. Same with Moe's and Chipotle. I kind of already hinted at that. But Moe's and Chipotle, fantastic because you can pick what you want, right? So if you are on a lower glycemic diet or you're trying to watch your calories, you can choose a salad option but high protein, and so you don't have to have the rice or the taco shell or the carbs, right? I'm not anti-carbs either, but again, it's not always the best for your calorie bank, right? So you got to pick and choose. Are you going to be high fats or high carbs or moderate of either one, right? But I like because you can pick and choose, and you can also add lots of vegetables. Again, fiber helps you stay regular when you're on vacation. Can't stress that enough. We can't stress that enough in our household. Panera, Wendy's, Taco Bell, and I know everyone's like Taco Bell, but they have some better options like taco salads and things like that. And you can usually get all these proteins like chicken or beef or whatever, by themselves. So there's no like added sauces, and that's really where the calories come in. So same with Chick-fil-A, you can get like grilled chicken salad. McDonald's, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, I actually really like their pepper wrap. It's not the worst thing in the world, not the best, but when you're in a pinch and you just want like 15 grams of protein, boom, there you go. Burger King, Subway. I haven't seen a lot of these, so again, you have to plan it out on your vacation, kind of know. But El Pollo Tropical, really good. You can get like the different bowls, sides of rice or beans or whatever you want. Same thing with Panda Express, Jimmy John's. So a lot of these are cool because you can pick what you want. So it's not just already made for you. You can add or subtract what you want. Again, none of these are in specific order, but on vacation, I do tend to lean more on Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, Moe's, and Panera, just because I find their quality to be the best. And they have a lot of, like I said, grilled chicken options without sauces or oils. And that's not only unnecessary calories, but it might make you feel blah because you're not used to that. So just think about that. Right now, even if you are not in a caloric deficit, you are more than likely not to want to overdo it. And that's because continuously eating in a surplus while driving can make you feel lethargic, bloated, and just plain gross. So to make sure you hit your protein goal, you want to aim for at least 3 ounces or so of protein per meal. And I'm kind of aiming more towards like the lean meat protein. If you are vegan or vegetarian, you're going to want to look for those options as well. And that's another conversation because I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but you got to make sure that you have that, those nutrients when you're tracking. That's probably even more hard and difficult because unfortunately, a lot of restaurants are not vegetarian friendly. But I know that I think Chipotle and Moe's have like tofu options, so you can always lean on that, which is nice. But on the other end of the spectrum, so if you're not as restrictive, right, there's different options for you as well. But I personally like to look ahead to see what restaurants I am going to eat at when I'm on vacation, or ask my friends and family if I'm staying with them. And this just helps with so many things for me specifically, not just my indecisiveness, because I can be indecisive, but it also gives me peace of mind, right? Because then I know what I'm getting. I already know everything about the menu. I don't have to worry about it. I can put it in my macros if I'm tracking my macros, or I just know that I'm getting enough protein, or I'm getting enough fiber, or I'm not having too much sugar or too much added fat, right? So also, even though I do not drink alcohol, I do have a rule that if I want to try something or have a fun drink, I only have one at at one time, like at one meal. So I went out to this taco kind of like restaurant. It was like a taco, I can't remember the name, Taquito. I can't remember the name, but it was really cool. And they had like gourmet tacos and stuff. So um, I got a drink, I got a fun drink, but I didn't feel guilty about it because I only had one. So this helps me enjoy it without over consuming. And if I'm on vacation, sometimes I do not track my macros, which can be refreshing, but can also be scary when you don't know the exact amount of something. So if there's like 20 grams of added sugar and I don't know, I might feel like crap. But with one drink, I generally do not feel guilty. I don't feel so hungover, obviously, because it's like one drink, right? Maybe two shots of something, or bloated from the sugar. So I try to also opt for lower calorie drinks like skinny margaritas, wine, red wine, like Pinot Noir, Cabernet, or seltzers. And oftentimes my husband and I split it. So that way we can both try it and we both don't feel guilty because we're both having it and it's like half the calories. So that's another trick. And then you can have fun without feeling so guilty, but also not miss out. So that's like my kind of favorite thing right now. And there's probably going to be some criticisms with that, but that's what really helps me personally stay on track while also still having a good time. Now, that's like my foodie kind of rules of thumb. What I'm going to talk to next is more on the nutrition-ish kind of lifestyle focus. So while it's really important to focus on your food and everything like that, it's also really important to focus on your environment, hydration and movement, X, Y, and Z. So if I'm going to go on a road trip that's like at least 3 or more hours, I try to get out of the car, stop every hour and a half to walk around for 5 to 10 minutes or stretch. I also try to constantly drink water, like I said, even sparkling water or caffeine free or low caffeine teas. That's really hydrating. You can also add electrolytes if you don't have electrolyte powders. Again, look for like the Bai or sports drinks that are low sugar, like the Gatorade. Body Armor is really good too. Sometimes Body Armor is hard to find though, but that really helps me. So, ironically, this works out well for me because if I drink a lot of water and stuff, I'm going to have to stop and pee every hour. So it's kind of a win-win. But also staying hydrated and moving can prevent urinary tract infections, constipation, bloatedness, tiredness, which is obviously really important when you're driving on a road trip. You don't want to be tired, you want to be awake. And also if you have a dog or kids or anything, they should get out and stretch too, right? So that's really important when you're on the trip and you're like driving somewhere or driving home. When you're not on an airplane, still get up and stretch. But if your airplane trip's only an hour or two, it's not as important, especially when you're in the airport, you're walking around probably to find your gate and everything. So that's a different conversation. I'm more or less talking about when you're on a road trip, right? But I also love to plan time to do physical activity every day of the trip if I can. So usually it's walking at least or hiking. I like to pick local downtowns, especially to browse and go sightseeing in. Or again, like I said, like a long 1 to 2 hour hike to explore new terrain and areas. Now, if time permits and I'm not in like a time crunch, I'll try new gyms. I love going to new gyms just for fun. I think for me, getting out of my comfort, it's very inspiring me. So I'm like, I can be a creature of habit, but when I get out into a new gym, then I'm like, wow, there's a whole new world. And I usually work out harder and I have a better workout. So, yeah. So I think that planning to do physical activity when you can, even if it's only an hour extra out of your day, again, usually that's like 1% of your day or so, right? So just try, especially when you've been sitting in the car all day or something like that. It's so important. And if you can, maybe walk around after lunch or dinner or, sightsee, especially after eating to help move your digestion, not be so sedentary. That can be really good for your blood sugar as well. So that's really important. Now, speaking about really important, sleep is so important. So when I'm on vacation, I'm like a sleep snob because I feel like I do try to get better sleep on vacation. And normally I sometimes I do, but sometimes I can't because it's like you're out of your environment again. You're not in your same comfort zone, right? But I followed these rules to help better sleep. And so far, so good. I've been really sleeping. Like, knock on wood, even with a puppy now, I'm sleeping better now than I have because I've been able to regulate my sleep, and I've been using my puppy as an excuse to go to bed earlier because she needs sleep, we need sleep, we all need sleep. So chamomile or sleepy time tea, I do bring that with me on vacation. I have to have it. If I don't have my cup of chamomile tea before bed, it's game over. And that's probably more of a mental thing than anything, but hey, if it works, right? Another really important thing, I don't have food at least an hour before bed, unless it's like a little yogurt or something like really fast digesting. I really don't have food before bed. I don't need to. Yeah, right? Like, you need to fast when you sleep. It helps your digestion, it helps your sleep, it helps you get into more of a REM, deep sleep. So if you can limit food before sleep, that would be great. Magnesium is awesome before bed. There's different forms, but there's a magnesium complex you can get. Or if you like the sleep drinks, kind of like things with magnesium and theanine and everything like that. Again, Redcon has an awesome one. I think it's called Knockout Deep Sleep, something like that. I can link it below in the show notes, but it's awesome. It has all that information and everything in. Melatonin as well. Everybody's different with melatonin, but I do take melatonin now, and I just feel so much better. I don't feel groggy when I wake up. I feel refreshed. I don't have like the brain like overactivity when I go to bed. I take melatonin like maybe 30 minutes before bed, and I feel great. So everybody's different, but I've been doing it for years, and my hormones and health are great. So it works for me. Try it. If it works for you, that's awesome. Another thing, everybody's been talking about this now. Even I've talked about this on the podcast. Everybody is different, but limit screen time. All right, have blue light glasses, or put your phone or your computer on sleep mode. Okay, everybody knows that blue light will stimulate your brain, and you'll be more hyper and overactivity. And there's so much science saying that your body won't produce the same amount of serotonin and melatonin to help you go to sleep. So please try to limit your exposure, or at least have the blue light blocking glasses. You can buy them on Amazon, so cheap. You can buy them on Temu. I think that's where I got mine. I'd have to look again. But we've been using them for at least since Christmas, so over 6 months. That's when I got them for my husband and myself, and they're great. Love them. Kind of like the eating thing, I don't work out at least 3 hours before bed. At least, like, I finish my workout at least 3 hours before bed. So if I'm working out 6 to 8, 8 to 11, no more working out. That's when I might eat dinner, settle down, do some stuff around the house, chores, whatever. No food though, right? So try to limit physical activity because it can increase your heart rate. Your mind's going to be thinking a little bit more. You're going to be more alert, more focused. It's going to be really hard for you to kind of cool down and settle down. Same thing, no caffeine after a certain time if you're caffeine sensitive, right? They say limit caffeine like 6 to 8 hours before you go to bed. That's like usually when people can detox it and not feel the effects so much. But everybody's sensitive. So if you can't have that much caffeine, do what I do. All right, switch to decaf or do half and half. Or just do like herbal tea, something like that. This one's kind of thinking outside the box, but rain sounds or relaxing sounds. Some people can't do rain sounds because they say it makes you pee. But I like the rain sounds. There's so many different, there's like the crickets, there's the rainforest, there's so many different options. So do whatever is best for you. There's so many free ones on YouTube and Spotify, and you can even buy the Rise or the sleeping apps as well. I just don't want to pay for those because they're not that cheap when you think about it. So yeah, but I think rain sounds are great too because it can get you out of your head, right? So if you're like overthinking, but then there's sounds can really soothe you. We're all like babies. We were once babies. We need to be soothed. And I'm getting more like a baby as I get older, actually. The last one though is getting outside during the day, at least for 20 minutes of sun exposure, and or supplementing with vitamin D. Really important because it can help your melatonin production. They say red light in the beginning of the day and in the evening time around sunset really helps your circadian rhythm, and I believe that to be true because I try to get sun every single day. Luckily, I live in Florida. People don't realize it actually rains a lot in the summer, but I usually can get at least 20 to 30 minutes of sunlight a day, and that's really been helping with my sleep. So I hope all of that information really helped you. I know that everybody is different, but it is really possible to be healthy and have a wonderful vacation, right? So take everything with a grain of salt. Talk to your doctor if you're not sure about certain things like supplements, or talk to your registered dietitian or your coach, whoever's training you or helping you with your lifestyle and healthy plans, right? But my last tidbit of information is, unless you're really trying to cut for health reasons, weight loss goals, or you're competing and you need to be at a certain weight, don't forget to relax and enjoy your trip. You know, that looks so different for everyone, but the goal of a vacation is to be the best and most relaxed version of yourself. So don't forget that. Don't get so caught up in, oh, I have to have sugar free this, or I can't have alcohol. If you're really not trying to do anything for a specific goal and you don't have to lock in right now, then enjoy your time. Try the lavender latte. Don't worry about tracking your macros. Just stay hydrated, stay active, and work on the other things so that you're not kind of like overwhelmed and feeling a little lethargic, right? But I really hope that all this information helped you. I worked so hard on this to give you the best information so that when you go on your next vacation, you can plan accordingly. You can bring your chamomile tea, you can bring your magnesium, and you can have just the best vacation. Take all the photos, take the pictures and the videos, and make those beautiful memories. Do something fun, do something new. Don't be on your phone the entire vacation. I feel like I'm lucky because I really put my phone on like do not disturb, and I just have a great vacation. If you can do that, please do that. Please enjoy yourself, right? So again, thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. Remember to follow, like, subscribe, and share. You know, you're powerful as always, and I am so, so proud of you. Thank you again so much for coming to today's episode, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.